Hi! In our last video we went through the method to write 3 scary stories in 3 different tenses. Similarly, in this video we'll check how to write 3 mystery stories in different tenses. The videos will provide you further assistance in reading, listening and speaking simple, intermediate and complex sentences and advanced English language. Additionally, you will become proficient in speaking the native English language. You will find the vocabulary very useful in your learning and in any examination you might take. Pay attention to the following aspects of language while listening to or writing the stories. Dialogue. Sequencing words. Clue language. Sensory effects. Sudden twists. Descriptive vocabulary. Suspenseful phrases. Specific tenses. Questions and uncertainty. Short dramatic sentences. Details of sight, sound, smell, etc. Today we are going to present the stories in the following tenses that are vital for spoken and written language. Present perfect tense, past perfect tense, and future perfect tense. What's present perfect tense? The present perfect tense is used to describe actions that happened at an unspecified time in the past but are connected to the present. It is formed using has or have and past participle of the verb. For example, she has finished her homework. They have visited the museum before. I have completed writing the essay. Let's go through a mystery story that's written in present perfect tense. Attentively observe how the verb forms in present perfect tense are helping you give specific meaning of when an action has happened. The luminous lumps. Aurelia has spent another exhausting night buried in her medical textbooks, her dormitory room lit only by the dim glow of her desk lamp. Stacks of notes on pharmacology, anatomy charts, and highlighted research papers have surrounded her like a fortress. She has been pushing herself relentlessly for 3 years, determined to become an internal medicine doctor, but tonight, fatigue has finally overtaken her. Her head has slumped onto her arms, her fingers still clutching a highlighter. The clock on her wall has ticked past 2 a.m., and the muffled sounds of rain tapping against her window have faded into silence, and as an incredibly dedicated internist, Aurelia has been standing in the sterile, brightly lit operating theater of St. Mercury Hospital. The hum of machines and the sharp scent of antiseptic have filled the air. She has been assisting in a routine surgery on Mrs. Thompson, a 70-year-old patient with abdominal pain. As she has carefully cut through layers of tissue, her gloved hands have suddenly brushed against something unusual. A small yellowish lump embedded near the liver. The lump has glowed faintly, its surface sticky and gelatinous, unlike anything she has seen in her studies. As her colleagues too have failed to recognize it, she slowly managed to take a sample of it, and placed the specimen in a tray. Send this to the lab immediately. She has ordered the nurse, her voice trembling. Hours later, lab technician Dr. Michel has summoned Aurelia to his cluttered workstation. Microscopes, files and glowing screens have covered every surface. The lump is composed of xenothiol. He has announced, adjusting his glasses. It's a toxic industrial chemical used in solvent production. But here's the mystery. Mrs. Thompson has never worked with chemicals. Her blood work shows no exposure. Before Aurelia has processed this, her pager has buzzed urgently. Dr. Bill, a seasoned surgeon with a graying beard, has called her to the emergency room. 2 new patients, A 10-year-old boy and a construction worker have been rushed in with identical symptoms. Scans have revealed glowing lumps in their abdomens, though neither has had contact with xenothelial. This isn't possible. Dr. Bill has muttered, his face pale. Within days, the hospital has descended into chaos. Epidemiologist Dr. Shekhar has published a chilling report. Over 200 cases have been confirmed nationwide. Patients have first complained of fatigue, then developed slurred speech and seizures. Every surgery has uncovered the same luminous lump. Health Minister Mr. Richard has appeared on televised press conferences, his voice grave. This is a global health emergency, he has declared, but borders have already closed to late. Airline passengers have carried the disease to all the continents and no country was spared. Aurelia has joined a team of researchers working around the clock in a cramped lab. They have dissected the lumps under sealed conditions, discovering that the xenothelial has mutated into a living organism. It's replicating by absorbing human cells. Dr. Michel has explained with a concerned mind. Once it reaches the brain, it triggers neurological decay. Desperate, the team has experimented with antivirals and radiation, but the organism has adapted to every treatment. Meanwhile, airports and highways have shut down in order to prevent an already devastating situation. The world has spiraled into darkness. Cities have burned as infected mobs, now devoid of speech and rationality, have wandered like ghosts, and Dr. Shekhar has grimly announced. The human race has 6 months left. Everyone has come down with deep panic. Scientists have traced the organism's origin to a meteorite that struck a northern ocean a year prior, a theory dismissed as conspiracy until now. Aurelia, surviving on coffee and adrenaline, has barely slept. Suddenly, Mrs. Brown's voice has boomed. Wake up, Aurelia. It's not real. Aurelia has jolted upright, gasping for air. Sweat has soaked her scrubs, and her heart has hammered against her ribs. Disoriented, she has blinked at her surroundings. Not the lab, but her quiet dorm room. Sunlight has streamed through the curtains, and birds have chirped outside. The clock has read 7:30 a.m. Relief has washed over her like a tidal wave. It was just a nightmare, she has whispered, laughing shakily. Her textbooks have still lay open to the page about abdominal tumors, her highlighter dried out. Relief has flooded her as she sighed. It was just a nightmare, she has muttered, wiping sweat from her forehead. But as she has reached for her coffee, a faint glowing speck on her wrist has made her freeze. Did you enjoy the story and notice all the present perfect tense verbs? Some of them were in continuous tense, about which we'll learn in another video. You can listen to the story again to note all the present perfect tense verbs given in the story, of which the first few appear in green. Towards the end of the video, we've presented a chart of all 3 tenses and the meanings of the important vocabulary that you've learned in this video. You can repeat the verses of the story sentence by sentence, or phrase by phrase to achieve the native accent. Here is an interesting challenge for you to develop your skills. 4 interesting topics are given on mystery story writing. Choose the topics that interest you the most and write a short story on it, in present perfect tense. Or you can deliver a speech on it to your friend or colleague. The backpack has vanished. A student's backpack has disappeared during a school field trip near a remote village. No one has seen anything, but clues have started turning up in strange places. Footprints have appeared. Every morning, mysterious and large footprints have appeared in the school's garden even though the gates have stayed locked at night. A note has been found in the old desk. A student has discovered a hidden compartment in an old desk with a strange note inside. It has led them on a trail to uncover something interesting and shocking. Someone has written on the mirror. Mysterious messages have appeared in a strange language on the university mirror during lunch break, but no one has admitted to writing them or explained why. Don't worry about leaving mistakes during the writing or speech activities. Everyone has to start at a point, and as you keep going, definitely your progress is going to motivate and marvel you. What's past perfect tense? Past perfect tense is used to show that one action was completed before another action. Example, she had left before the rain started. Tina had gone to bed when Maria arrived. Let's go through a mystery story that involves a university student. The story is given in past perfect tense. Observe all the verbs that help us narrate this thriller in past perfect tense. The first few are shaded in green for you. The stolen masterpiece at university. On a lovely evening in Melbourne City, Julia, a final-year master's student, had created a vintage-style masterpiece. A haunting portrait of a crying young boy set against a rustic village background. She had poured her soul into every brushstroke, and by dawn it had been ready. That morning, the painting had been carefully arranged in the exhibition hall among other student artworks. Even the dean, Mr. Arnold, had admired its melancholy beauty during his evening tour and had praised it as a masterpiece. By dusk, the exhibition hall had emptied. Miss Lovely, the devoted supervisor, had double-checked every door and lock before locking the hall for the night. In the silence that followed, the artworks had hung in stillness, unaware of the turmoil soon to come. Julia had arrived early the next day and had discovered a nightmare. Her vintage-style masterpiece of the weeping boy had vanished without a trace. Shock had flooded her senses as she had stared at the empty wall where it had once hung. No door had been forced open. No window had been broken. No alarm had been triggered. It had seemed impossible that anyone had stolen the painting. Panic had turned swiftly to resolve. As the exhibition deadline had drawn closer, Julia and her friends had launched an urgent investigation of their own. They had scoured the hall late into the night. Their footsteps had echoed on marble floors as they had whispered theories under bright lights. Each clue had felt significant. A scuff mark on the floor, a dropped nail, an open closet door. Suspicion had swirled among them like dark clouds. They had even considered the possibility that the caretaker or a resentful student had stolen it. Their pressure had intensified with every passing hour. The friends had felt a knot of anxiety tighten in their chests as they had realized the exhibition opening was just hours away and the prized artwork was still missing. The university grounds had buzzed in the morning sun with anticipation of the event, but Julia had known her night had been hollow without the painting. Restlessness had begun to haunt Julia's nights as sleep had evaded her. Late that evening, a breakthrough had come. Julia had obtained the CCTV footage from the gallery cameras. With hearts pounding, they had watched the grainy screens. Marion, the janitor, had appeared in the footage after hours, mop bucket in hand. He had held a large, lumpy object under his coat as he walked. The cloth had shifted, revealing nothing recognizable. Shadows had danced around him as he passed, and suspicion had prickled at Julia's mind. Julia had gasped. Her heart had stopped when she tried to think what it could be. Acting on this clue, Julia's team had raced to inspect Marian's cleaning cart. Under a dim corridor light, they had noticed fresh smears of paint on its metal frame. The deep ochre and brown pigments had matched exactly the colors in Julia's masterpiece. Her heart had thumped wildly as each smear confirmed their fear. Marian's cart had carried evidence. The realization had hit them like a silent alarm. The team had started talking to Marian, telling him that they've got conclusive evidence in the CCTV footage and soon it will reach the CID. This panicked Marian, who had crumbled under questioning. He had admitted the truth in a hushed, trembling voice. A wealthy art collector had recently approached him with an offer he could not refuse. This stranger had coveted Julia's painting and had secretly paid Marian to steal it under cover of night. Marian had revealed that guilt had weighed on him heavily, but fear of punishment had kept him silent until now. With Marian's confession, the final clue had fallen into place. They had searched the university grounds guided by Marian's words. Tucked away in a dusty storeroom behind an old closet, they had found the painting. It had been hidden under a stack of canvases, with a little scratch, but otherwise unharmed. Dean Arnold and Miss Lovely had hurried to help, astonished at the discovery. Together they had gently lifted the canvas from hiding, relief flooding their faces. In the end, the mystery had been solved just in time for the exhibition. Julia had carefully cleaned the smudges from the frame and had rehung the recovered artwork in the gallery. The exhibition had opened under bright lights. And Julia had felt pride and relief as onlookers admired her creation. The ordeal had taught everyone involved about trust and perseverance. Julia had realized that beneath the boy's painted tears, courage had lived all along. Hope you enjoyed the mystery story very much and noted almost all the past perfect tense verbs. The first few had been colored in green. Would you like to write a different ending to the story and give a totally different mysterious twist to the ending? Of course, in past perfect tense. You might want the painting to be found elsewhere, hanging in the exhibition room, or probably a mouse could have dragged it across the hall and left it at another corner. Or it could be the plot of another person and Marian is completely innocent. You could even end it as the culprit already had sold the painting and it had been shipped out of the country, or sadly, it had been damaged badly by them and not retrievable, and Julia, after a heartbreak, decides to repaint it before the next exhibition. Let's move on to a short funny story which gives you a glimpse of future perfect tense. It describes an action that will be completed before a specific time in the future. Examples. By next week, they will have finished the science project. She will have left the university before the results are announced. We will have solved the mystery by the time the professor arrives. The first few future perfect tense verbs are shaded in green for you. The vanishing formula. By the time the university's science fair arrives next month, Sonia and her teammates, Sheila, John, and Osman will have completed their strange chemical experiment. They had started with the simple idea of creating a harmless mist that made objects invisible for fun. They wanted things to just vanish within a second. Boom! And it should have gone. But little did they know, their discovery will have turned into something far more serious and dangerous. Within 2 weeks, they will have tested the formula on small items like pencils, books, and lab tools. Everything will have vanished after being sprayed, with no sign of return. The excitement in their lab will have grown intense. This could change the world, John had whispered, wide-eyed. Or destroy it, Sonia had added, half-joking, or so she thought. Trouble will have begun when Osman accidentally sprayed a tiny drop onto his hand. The area will have faded for a second before returning. What if it works on people? Sheila had said, her voice low with fear. Their curiosity will have overtaken their caution, and they agreed to test on something larger, maybe a piece of meat. But Osman, obsessed with the results, had other plans. By the next day, he will have disappeared. The group will have searched the campus in panic, reporting him missing. Security cameras will have shown nothing after he entered the lab alone. His parents and siblings will have searched for him all over the town. That's when Sonia's heart will have sunk. They had created something unstoppable, a formula that erased more than matter. It erased presence, proof, even memory. By the end of the week, officials will have shut down the lab. The liquid container will have been confiscated, and the remaining students will have been questioned for hours. Yet no one could explain what really happened. John kept whispering that they had broken science, while Sheila will have fallen into silence. Sonia, meanwhile, couldn't sleep. Lying in her bed days later, Sonia blinked at the ceiling. Her notebook lay open beside her, filled with scribbles and ideas. She stared at her last line. What if it never happened? Was it real? Or had she only imagined it all, the vanishing formula, Osman's disappearance, the fear? By the time morning comes, Sonia will have convinced herself it was all just a story her brilliant but anxious mind had created. Now let's have some fun. The following fun and mystery story topics are for you to choose from and to create a story, essay, or to deliver a speech. A comprehensive essay and article writing with spoken English guidance is given in this video of Supreme English. Practicing speaking and writing on the following topics will help you enhance your vital skills in English language. You can decide the length of the speech or story according to your convenience. The case of the talking parrot. A parrot starts repeating suspicious phrases. Could it be a clue to a hidden secret? The disappearing cake's mystery. Every time someone places a cake, especially a chocolate one, it goes missing in Alphonse's home. What can be the mystery behind it? Who swapped the principal's wig? The school principal's wig was mysteriously replaced with a bright pink one just before assembly. The midnight snack bandit. Snacks keep going missing from the dorm fridge, but the thief leaves hilarious notes behind. The haunted selfie camera. A student's phone takes selfies of people making silly faces, without anyone touching it. The mysterious bubble trouble. Huge soap bubbles filled with glitter start floating around campus. Where are they coming from, and why do they keep appearing near the library? Here are the meanings of some useful vocabulary and phrases that we went through in this video. They dramatically help you increase your word bank. Luminous. Giving off light. Shining brightly. Relentlessly. In a way that does not stop or give up. With constant effort. Internist. A doctor who specializes in treating diseases inside the body, especially in adults. Mysterious. Something that is strange or difficult to understand. Not easily explained. Pharmacology. The study of medicines and how they affect the body. Anatomy. The study of the structure of living things, especially the human body. Antiseptic. A substance that stops or slows down the growth of germs and is used to clean wounds. Microscopes. Tools that make very small things look bigger, so we can see them clearly. Embedded. Fixed or stuck deeply into something. Identical. Exactly the same in every detail. Meteorite. A piece of rock or metal from space that lands on Earth. Restlessness. A feeling of not being able to stay still or calm, often due to worry or excitement. Excitement. A strong feeling of happiness and energy about something that is happening or going to happen. Confiscate. To take something away from someone. As a punishment or for safety reasons. Presence. The state of being in a particular place or situation. Replicate. To make an exact copy of something. To repeat something in the same way. Masterpiece. A work of art or skill that is exceptionally good and shows great talent. Obsessed. Thinking about something or someone too much or all the time. Lab technician. A person trained to work in a laboratory, helping with scientific tests and experiments. Global health emergency. A serious situation that affects the health of many people around the world and needs urgent action. Slurred speech. Speech that is unclear or hard to understand, often because of tiredness, illness, or injury. Press conference. A meeting where reporters are given official information and can ask questions usually held by public figures or organizations. Team of researchers. A group of scientists or experts who work together to study and find answers to specific questions or problems. Radiation treatment. A medical procedure that uses high-energy rays to kill or shrink cancer cells. Disoriented. Feeling confused and not sure about where you are or what is happening. Launching an investigation. Starting a formal process to find out the truth about something, usually when something suspicious or serious has happened. Chilling report. A report that is very shocking or frightening, often revealing serious danger or bad news. Vintage style. A fashion or design that is inspired by or looks like something from the past, from 20 to 100 years ago, often seen as classic or high quality. When you know the meanings of the vocabulary, you can use them to make better sentences and stories or essays in any of the tenses that you've learned. You can also incorporate them in your spoken language. For simple present, past and future tenses, this video of Supreme English is very useful. If you are a beginner English learner, the above-mentioned video will help you advance in speaking, listening, writing, reading and sentence construction and spellings. Here is a funny story in which the word mystery is repeated. Try and replace the word mystery with suitable synonyms that are given at the end of the story to make it interesting and engaging. The Mystery House. Arnold, Shyla, Heba, and Sean were the worst detectives in Willow Creek. But when their teacher said, "Solve a mystery for extra credit," they grabbed their magnifying glasses and raced to the old mystery mansion on Maple Street. The house was famous for one thing. A mystery no one could solve. Legend said a ghostly parrot squawked every midnight. "This mystery is ours," shouted Sean, tripping over a garden hose. Inside, the group found dusty books, cobwebs, and a painting of a grumpy man holding a pear. This mystery makes no sense, groaned Heba. Suddenly, mystery! Mystery! Screeched a voice. They screamed and hid behind a couch. But it wasn't a ghost, it was a bright green parrot. The parrot's part of the mystery, whispered Shyla. Who taught this word to a parrot? Heba threw a mysterious look. The bird flew to a bookshelf and pecked at a book titled Secrets of Pears. Arnold frowned. Why is this mystery so fruity? The book fell open, revealing a map of the mansion with a big red cross and a skull. A treasure? Sean yelled. The mystery got weirder. They followed the map to the kitchen, where the cross pointed to the fridge. Inside was a moldy sandwich and a note. The real mystery is why you trusted a parrot. The note read. Heba snapped. We failed. But then the parrot squawked. Mystery drawer. They opened a drawer and found a key labeled at it. This mystery isn't over, said Shyla. In the attic, after a long tiring search, they found a dusty chest. The key fit. Inside was a photo of the grumpy man laughing, a trophy for World's Worst Detective, and a cookbook titled 100 Ways to Eat Pears. The parrot landed on Arnold's head. Mystery solved. It squawked. Turns out, the man loved pranks and pears. So the mystery was a joke, Sean said, holding the cookbook. The parrot nodded. Mystery. They all laughed. Even detectives who solved zero mysteries deserved snacks, so they ordered a pepperoni pizza and never spoke of pears again. The list of vocabulary that you can choose from and replace the words mystery, puzzle, secret, riddle, problem, enigma, paradox, mystery, obscurity, perplexity, ambiguity, uncertainty, mystique, suspense, surprise, and phenomenon. Here is a chat of the tenses that you learned at the beginning of the video today. The chart provides some commonly used verbs in all three forms at a glance to you. It will help you to compare the verb tenses and offer you a helping hand in spoken and written English. You may have to pause the video in order to have a look at these verb forms. Supreme English Channel guides you to substantially improve your spoken, written, listening and reading language skills. Also, you can check our beginner-friendly videos of Supreme English Channel if you are a beginner. You can make different sentences or paragraphs using the verb types given here. You can also write down or make speeches using your own life experiences. It's always easy to think and form an articulation from incidents happened in our lives as they come from our deep or subconscious memory. Don't forget to subscribe and share the video with your friends and family, and they might find the lessons useful as well. If you are watching first time Supreme English Channel, please subscribe and go through the other videos in which interesting lessons are presented. Don't forget to take advantage of the forthcoming videos that are dedicated to native English speaking, daily usage of language and focusing English examinations.